Okay, good evening, children. We just saw a video taken from somewhere, from US, and this was actually a statement from NASA when from the satellite when they are looking between India and Sri Lanka. That is the southern eastern tip of India. That is in a place called Rameshwaram and Sri Lanka. There was a stream of a line which was kind of drawn. And they went close up. They saw a lot of rocks being kept, and it said that it's more than 7,000-year old human. It could be some superhuman who would have constructed some similar bridge between India and Sri Lanka. So today we are going to go to this place and to understand a legend from India about this bridge, how this bridge was actually built. And this story comes from Ramayana. Ramayana means there are characters like the Rama, the Sita, the Lakshmanan, and there are, the Hanuman, but there are also characters like Jatayu, like Sugriva, like Ravana, like Kumbhakarna, and like a small squirrel, a little squirrel. A squirrel who lives on a tree, always busy, looking around for nuts, cracking it, and eating. That's her life. So Ramayana and the squirrel. What is the connection? Let's find out in today's story. For that, I'll once again share one picture to you. And can you hear? This is the story of the Rama and the little squirrel. Long time ago, nearly more than 5,000 years ago, there lived a prince called Rama in Ayodhya. There, once, his father asked Rama to go to the forest for a long 14 years as an exile and requested Ram to go into exile and return after 14 years to be crowned as the king of Ayodhya. As an obedient son, Rama left for the 14 years of hard exile into the deep forests in India. But when he was leaving, he took along his wife Sita and his brother Lakshmana. Now, almost everyone knows about the structure of Ramayana. Yes. So, just as Rama, Sita, Lakshmana, when they were traveling across, they went through many hurdles and obstacles, and then one day, the king of Lanka, the king of Asura, Ravana, came and abducted Sita Devi. He took her back to Lanka. And now Rama had to rescue Sita. So he kept searching for her. And there were like Jadayu, and there were few other characters in Ramayana who helped Rama to find where Ma Sita was being taken into. She was there in Ashokavana in Sri Lanka. Okay, so this is all happening, and they were all from Ayodhya. They traveled from Uttar Pradesh to now today's Uttar Pradesh, and then to kind of places in Bihar, and then Maharashtra, and then to Karnataka. And then when they were in the Karnataka, they found they found Hanuman and his big army headed by Sugriva. The Sugriva were all Vanara community. They were all from Vanara community. They were all tall, well-built, kind of a monkey face, but very, very, very powerful and very, very, very nice you know, Vanaras. So when Rama and Lakshmana went into Sugriva for help, he immediately wanted to help Rama, and along with his army of Vanara, they proceeded because Hanuman had already told Rama where Sita was there. Sita Devi was in Lanka, so they wanted to see how they can go, and they routed a route which headed to today's Tamil Nadu, and they came straight and walking. Mind you, they were kept walking, and they came into Tamil Nadu, and at the end of the land, they met a huge ocean. Today we call it as the Bay of Bengal. The ocean, the blue ocean, was the waves were so big, and it were greeting Rama, it was welcoming Rama. And as Rama went onto the shore, he looked here and there, and then far away he could see a land, and the land was Lanka, the land where Ma Sita Devi is being kept. No, our Prince Rama had to rescue her. He looked here and there and to the ocean, which was very, very deep. Rama, Lakshmana, not even the Vanaras could cross it just like that. So now, though Rama was very powerful, though Rama was also magical, he did not want to use his magical power and all the astras to divide the ocean. He could have taken a bow and arrow and then would have shooted, and then the ocean would have been divided, giving them away. But no, instead, Rama prayed to the god of ocean, prayed to the god of ocean, and there the ocean god came in, and he humbly bowed to Rama and requested, Rama, please, how can I help you? Rama immediately put forth his request to give a way for the Vanaras to cross over. Immediately, the ocean slowly got divided without affecting the sea creatures like the fish and the crabs and the whales. The sea slowly and narrowly, it kind of gave away, having a small passage. But still, it was a passage of sand. Nobody could just like that walk. It was very, very soft. So the team of Rama decided that there has to be a bridge that needs to be built. And bridge, in those days, there were no iron, there were no steel, but they all relied on the natural resources. So the Vanara, the whole of army of Vanaras were so powerful, they went around here and there and searched for the most huge, the heaviest rocks as possible from across, and they started to bring one by one, carrying on their head. They came and started to put on that small passage of sand, and one by one they were putting, but it was not one or 100 or 1,000, but it required countless number of stones. So the work continued. The dedicated team of Rama continued their work day and night, and Rama, along with Lakshmana, along with Sugriva, sat under a tree discussing how can they win over Ravana. And during that time, in the same land, just on the seashore, when the golden dunes and sands were all having the steps of Vanara, there was a tree. And that tree, on one of its branch, a little squirrel was cracking a nut and trying to eat it. When she looked down to this all kind of a chaos and sound, why so much of crowd here? I have not seen any such crowd like this. Who must be all this? And then her eyes went straight down the tree. Prince Rama, I have heard a lot about him. Such a noble prince, such a kind-hearted. Oh, no, I don't know why they are in so much of worry. What is troubling them? I must find out. Saying so, the squirrel slowly came down the tree and then listened to the conversations of Rama and the team. And then she realized, oh, they are all building a bridge. I see the stones coming and I see the wanderers carrying it so well. Oh, if everyone can help our Prince Rama, why shouldn't I? I must help Rama. And then when she looked at the cracked nut, no, and she dropped the nut down. I must help Rama. Saying so, she hopped down and she started to run. Now this little squirrel, who had the little arms and that bushy tail, what help can she do to build this massive bridge, which required countless number of stones? But our little squirrel went around, and then she saw, when in the seashore you find these little pebbles, and she saw these little pebbles white in color, brown in color, few black in color, and then she picked one pebble at a time. She picked a pebble with little arms, and then she hopped. She ran as fast as she could, and she went and she climbed onto the rocks that was already been placed, and then she went in, and in between the rocks there were a few gaps, and she started putting those little pebbles onto these gaps. And then she back again onto the seashore, picking another pebble. Picking another pebble. Imagine, for hours and days and months she kept doing this without resting. The time she came and went, her whole body was now filled with all this mud, and her whole eyes were kind of so tired. Her whole tail was now brushing on that dunes of sands was so full of mud. But our little tired squirrel continued her work, continued tirelessly, taking the little pebbles to the stone bridge and then dropping it in between two trunks. And as she was doing it, she was also hearing, hey, this little squirrel has gone. Don't she understand this is a massive bridge? What major help that she can do? And she also heard somebody scolding her. Hey, squirrel, don't you know we are doing such important work? We are carrying such massive stones. Move away from our side, or else you will be crushed under our legs. All this that she was hearing. But the little squirrel did not stop her effort. She kept continuing to do it and kept on doing it for so many days and months and all that. And finally, at 1 minute, a wanderer there who was looking on to her continuously, he was feeling so tired about seeing this little squirrel disturbing their work. He immediately stopped her. Hey, you better move away from here. And when he started scolding the little squirrel got scared. Oh, no, I want to just help, Rama. The innocent squirrel, when she was pleading to that huge wanderer, this sight was actually getting noticed, observed by none other than the Prince Rama himself. And he was seated calmly, and he was looking all this what was happening. But when the little squirrel was pleading, Rama's heart melted. He came straight to the scene, and he advised the Vanara, Aho Vanara, your help is highly appreciated. So is hers. Just imagine we are putting one stone on the other, but to have the grip, to hold it together, you need to fill it. And the filling work is being done by this little squirrel. The help is very much significant. And then He praised the little squirrel. And as the little squirrel was looking up, the Prince Rama himself was praising this little squirrel for a little effort. As she was looking up, Prince Rama, with such a compassion, he took his arms and he patted softly onto the squirrel's back. And when he saw, patted her and saying, "You have helped me. Thank you, dear squirrel." And as he patted, the back of the squirrel got the fingerprints of Rama. She bowed to Rama. She she prayed to Rama, and then she continued doing her work. Since then, it is believed that the squirrels in India had that four stripes on their back. It is being given by none other than the Prince Rama himself. The legend being legend. Of course, now you find the scientific proof. The background image that you see, India and Sri Lanka, there is a small bridge that you see. It is being proven that it is not made naturally. It is certainly been made by some superhuman beings. And we know who is that super being would be. Thank you.